In New York with 9 cents by Abraham Mitri Ribani. This is recorded to celebrate the 9th anniversary of LibriVox. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. In New York with 9 cents by Abraham Mitri Ribani. Part 1. It was no easy task for me on the morning of that 7th of October, 1891, to believe my senses, when I first experienced that well-nigh overwhelming feeling that I was really in the great city of New York. As our little party proceeded on across Castle Garden, up toward Washington Street, I felt the need of new faculties to fit my new environment. A host of questions besieged my mind. Was I really in New York? Was I still my old self, or had some subtle, unconscious transformation already taken place in me? Could I utter my political and religious convictions freely, unafraid of either soldier or priest? What were the opportunities of the great new world into which I had just entered? What was awaiting me in America, whose life, as I had been told, was so vast, so complex, and so enlightened? Whatever the future had of wonder or surprise, it seemed that merely being in the United States was enough of a blessing to call forth my profoundest gratitude. But my revelry in such delicious fancies could not continue very long. The realization of the fact that my assets were only 9 cents, and my liabilities $40, quickly silenced my muse. My two good friends, having fulfilled their promise to lend me enough money to defray my necessary expenses until I reached New York, could do no more for me than recommend me to Abraham, their townsman and the proprietor of the chief restaurant and lodging house in the Syrian colony. Footnote: The Syrians invariably address a person by his given name, prefixing the title Khawaja or Effendi on more formal occasions. The constant use of only the given names in the Bible, such as David, Samuel, Paul, John, etc., shows the antiquity of the custom. The author. End footnote. Their recommendation was decidedly flattering, and it was not their fault that the beautiful picture of my character and attainments which they had put before the proprietor contrasted distressingly with my actual financial circumstances. The $40 that I owed those friends being equally divided between them, I gave each of them a note attested by 2 witnesses for $20 for 6 months, they promising to extend the time further if it was found necessary when the notes fell due. When I handed the notes to my creditors, and we all understood that from henceforth, so far as business matters were concerned, each one of us was to go his own way and work out his own salvation, a distressing sense of loneliness came over me. Aside from my 2 companions, I was not aware that I had an acquaintance within 1,000 miles. I had the name of a young man whose family I had known in Syria, and who was in business in New York, but I would not seek him. My poverty made me feel as if every Syrian in New York would look upon me as a beggar and shun my acquaintance. It was, however, by a fortunate accident that I met this young man on the street the next day after I landed. Perceiving my need, he offered to lend me a little money. I accepted a loan of $5 from him, which sum I vowed I would make last until I found work. But what I was most keenly aware of when I first went into Abraham's restaurant, with my load of cares, was hunger. My protracted sickness and the lack of suitable nourishment on the steamer had reduced me to a state of starvation. My craving at the sight of food was ferocious. For a whole week, no matter how often or how much I ate, I never felt satisfied. To face such a state of things, on a capital of half a franc, was by no means conducive to peaceful repose. Soon after I had been introduced to the restaurant keeper, my hungry eyes fell on a dish of mamoul, a delicious kind of Syrian sweet cakes, which stood on the counter before him. Asking no questions, I reached for one of the cakes.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?